I'm so excited. I have a good news to share with you all. It's an exciting news. We should, I think the manager said we should wait. Throughout the 400 years when the Israelites were in Egypt, God didn't speak. And when God appeared to Moses, God was ready to get the Israelites out of Egypt. Whenever God is speaking, he already have the action planned out. It was already time to manifest. Some of you are speaking too early. Be like God. What if I told you that not all of your experiences, not every death that you experience in life is meant for public disclosure? Great people know how to handle information, know how to manage information, and classify information. When you talk about winning at the palace, when you talk about ruling and winning in the battles of life, ability to handle information is very, very important. You know, when we talk about information, information can be defined as some form of knowledge about you, some form of knowledge that people don't know, and then when you expose yourself or they experience you, they get to know about that. And information that is processed becomes a data point. When people look at your resume, that's a processed information about you. And that allows them to make a decision about you. A processed information is a data. And a meaningful data that informs a strategy, that informs a decision, becomes intelligence. When it comes to winning in life, when it comes to sustaining greatness, when it comes to winning over the battles of life, when it comes to becoming all that God has ordained us to be, the ability to handle information, to know when to share information, to know what to share, and even how to share it is very, very critical. We've been talking about Esther and the process of reigning in the palace and winning in the palace. Esther was an orphan. She was a slave. But up until the point when she had to fight for the deliverance of her people, even people that were working with her didn't know that she was a Jew, or even that she was a slave. She contained that information. You know, when something is exciting and something exciting is happening, we are so bubbled up in the emotion. We would like to share it quickly. We would like to let others celebrate with us and let others experience the joy that we are experiencing, and let others be able to see the good things that is happening in our life. But the question to ask yourself at that point is, why am I sharing this information? What do I stand to benefit from sharing this information? One question that you should ask yourself is that, what do the people that I'm sharing this information with, what do they stand to benefit from me sharing that information with them? The ability to handle information, to handle confidential information is very important, because your life is your life. There are depths in your life that needs not to be known by everyone. There are deep experiences in your life, deep exposures in your spiritual walk with God that does not need to be for public disclosure. There are things going on in your life, in your health, in your family, that everyone does not need to know about it. Authenticity is not transparency. There is a difference between authenticity and transparency. That we are trying to be authentic and we are being vulnerable doesn't mean that we should be overly vulnerable to the point that we are being naive. It's a jungle out there. I want you to know that not everything in your life is meant to be shared. Not every experience in your life is meant for public disclosure. Not all of your dreams and aspirations and goals needs to be shared. Not every struggle, every pain, every trauma that you have gone through needs to be for public disclosure. Sometimes sharing these exposes us and make us to be exposed to unneeded attacks, to unneeded attacks. Not everything that you go through in life is meant for public disclosure. That you are authentic does not mean that you are overly transparent and everyone knows everything about you. And everyone knows every weaknesses that you have in such a way that they know what to target to bring you down. Esther was a woman with no friend. Esther had a great and effective community, and she knew how to handle information. Information are the knowledge that is given to people based on our experience in life. People can experience you in one area, either in your career or the other. People can have different experience about you, about your career, your academics, your family life, your marital status, your health status. Those are different experiences of life. But each of those experiences of life is not meant for public disclosure. Everyone does not need to know the details of all those experiences of life. So the question that you want to ask is that, why is it important? Or what is even information? And how do I handle information? I just want you to stay with me as I do this analogy. When people are exposed to your experience, that is information about you. They're exposed to your birthday. They're exposed to an addition to your family. They're exposed to a loss going on in the family. That is an experience of life. When that information is well processed, is well analyzed, that becomes a data. When a data is well processed in such a way that it informs the decision around a strategy or a decision around a behavior or an action, and that impacts an outcome, that data is no longer a data, now it's an intelligence. When it comes to intelligence, intelligence could either impact you as a person. So when you have all these experience in your life, you know the things that are your weak points, you know the things that are your strengths, and you put all these data points together and it becomes the intelligence that continues to inform your choices in life. That is one way that your information impacts you. Another way that information or intelligence could impact others is when you share this intelligence with other people outside of you. That could either make them want to help to support you in getting to your goal. And unfortunately, when you reveal too much about yourself, it can lead to people hurting you because they know every detail of your life and they know how to sabotage your growth process. Everything is not meant for public disclosure. Esther knew that the people that are working with her do not need to know her background. What are they going to use that information for? What is the purpose of sharing that information with them? How does that information impact them in their interaction with her? When it comes to information, there are questions that you need to ask yourself. When you are experiencing something in life, it could either be life is full of joy and sometimes pain. There are experiences that are good, there are experiences that are bad, there are experiences that are ugly that happens to us in life. Sometimes we want to share all of this. We want people to see us as we are. We want people to be partake in the joy that we are having. That is the purpose of having effective relationship in our lives. We want people to partake in our joy and rejoice with us when that promotion lands, or when that IVF becomes effective and successful, or when that treatment becomes successful. We want people to rejoice with us. But your heart is not everyone's heart. The way your heart is not the way everyone's heart is. You may have a good heart, you may share from a good heart, but it depends on what is that intelligence and that information and that data you are sharing. It depends on how it's interacting with the receiver of that information. If the position of the heart of the receiver is not in the right place, that information could trigger envy. It could trigger jealousy. It could trigger people working against you. That was not your intention. Your intention was to share your joy, to make them to be part of your joy. There are times that the experience that we have in life, we need to look at it and look at why we are sharing it with the public, who we are sharing it in the first place, even when we are sharing it, or what we are even sharing, or even how we are sharing it. Because not every experience in your life is meant for public disclosure, and not every experience in your life, even when you share it, will be perceived the way you meant it. And that is why you need to know, as you are rising up in greatness, as you are rising up in your growth journey, you need to know how to handle information. There are certain things that are private. There are certain experiences in your life are private. There are deep revelations of God that are private. There are deep experience and depths that you have experienced in your life that are private, that you have to keep and manage to yourself, to your individual, because they are not meant for public disclosure. You might think you are just being yourself, but sharing it is going to trigger some envy. Before I jump into question to ask yourself, here is something that I want you to know. Here's something that I want you to know about life and about the enemies or the devil. You know, based on Job story in the Bible, for some of you that are not familiar with the Job story, you can read it. Job was a man, he was very successful with a very good family. The children were doing well, the business was doing well, everything was trending up for him. He was happy, he would make sacrifice. And at the back end, without his knowledge, was God and the devil having a conversation about Job. And God said, have you looked at this? I mean, God was just happy with Job, and God was flaunting this servant who would always make worship for his children and would always make God his priority. And then Satan said, oh God, you have kept this man, you have blessed him, you have surrounded him, you have favored him, you have blessed every of his going and his coming. His children are doing well, everything is doing well about him. Job, you have, that is why he's worshiping you. Okay, now that is an intelligence. That data is going to impact an outcome. And then God said, why don't you try him and test him? I know that this man really loved me. Where am I going with this story? Some of you can finish and read the entire story about Job. But this is something I want you to take out. When Satan was asked where he was coming from, he said, to and fro the earth. The devil does not have all the information about you. He is not omniscient and is not omnipresent. The devil is not everywhere. Neither is the devil knows everything. The devil does not know everything, and the devil is not everywhere at the same time. So those are two information that you want to keep in your mind as we go on the questions to ask before you share information. Because like I said, the information that you are sharing, even when you are sharing it from a good heart, you don't know how it's going to interact with the heart of the receiver. And you don't know what is going to trigger in the heart of the receiver. If you will share every good things happen in our life with ourselves, even we ourselves will envy ourselves. If you share every good thing, every good details, every good progress, and you share everything, even you yourself, you will envy yourself. That is why before you start sharing, the first thing you want to ask yourself is that, why do I need to even share? What's the purpose of this information? Oh, this is a good promotion on the job. Why am I sharing? I'm sharing to praise the Lord. I'm sharing to glorify God. But remember, you have a good heart, but you don't know how that information will trigger the reaction of others. And that is why you want to ask yourself that your heart itself is from a right place. That before you want to share, you are sharing just because you want to glorify God, and not because you want to flaunt what God is doing in your life. That is something to keep in mind. That why do I need to share this? Am I sharing it so that I can boast of myself, or my status and what God is doing for me? Or I just want to boast of the greatness of God over the situation in my life? That is your why. You want to check on your why, because your why determines the state of your heart. And guess what? Your why will defend you. Because if your heart is not in the right place, and this information, intelligence that you're sharing with others triggers something negative, your why is your defense. Your why is your defense. So before you share, ask yourself, why do I need to share? The next thing that you ask yourself is that, when do I need to share? When do I need to share? There are things that God is doing right now in your life that is not meant for public disclosure yet, until when it's completed. The Bible says, he that has begun a good work in our life is faithful to complete it. Let him complete what he has started. Let God complete what he has started. Not everything is meant to be shared now. No, not now. There are times that you would even, it might even just be testifying in front of the congregation of God's people, and God will say, no, you are not testifying yet. You are going to wait. You might just say to yourself, oh, we are just going there to do a dedication of our baby, and God will say, I want you to wait. There are times that I've experienced that, and God will say, I want you to wait. Because when you understand why, even when your heart is in the right place, the when part is important, because timing is everything. You don't know the composition of the audience that you are going to share that thing with. And sometimes God will tell you, share it now and take it down. The when part in information is important. Who am I sharing it with is the next question that you want to ask yourself. Who is this information, data, intelligence meant for? Because that you have people in your circle doesn't mean that every one of them needs to know everything about you. You know, when we were talking about the topic on building an effective and healthy relationship, I said something about inner circle, outer circle, and your broader community. And I said, you want to think of yourself as the center. You are an individual, you are the center. There are very, very key people in your life that are at that inner circle. They know everything about you. Those people, you want to update them. They should know some things going on in your life. They may not necessarily have to know everything, but they should know some things going on in your life. Those are your inner circle. If you are not comfortable around your inner circle, maybe that's the time to reevaluate people in your inner circle. And then you move to the outer circle. And then you move to the broader circle. The people, the closeness of people, the proximity of people in your life will determine the access that they have to you. Which means boundaries are necessary. When it comes to this level of relationship, there are boundaries that are put in place for each level of this relationship. There are things that you share with your inner circle that the outer circle doesn't get to know about until much later. And there are things you share with your outer circle that the broader public, the outer community does not get to know about. In this age of social media that we want to share everything, we are excited. Even when we are sad, we are out there. You want to be crying and garnering emotion from people. You will be shocked that even when you are in pain, some people are happy that you are in that pain. So it's very, very important to know who are you sharing this information with. It's not even only good information, even information that makes us unhappy, ugly information that you are dealing with in your life. Who do you have to share it with? You need to ask yourself that question. And the third thing is that, what am I sharing? You know the level: inner circle, outer circle, broader community. What am I sharing with each of these levels? Like I said, access is based on responsibility. What you share with your friend is different from what you share with your lawyer. You can't hide from your lawyer. What you share with your doctor is different from what you share with your friend. You can't keep your medical condition away from your doctor. You have to be open. Access is based on responsibility. Access determines the information that you share. And access is built on boundary. If you have not seen the video that I made on boundaries, please check it out. The video is available in the channel. And if you have not yet subscribed, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel and join the community. I know you are enjoying the video. Subscribe to join the community. And feel free to drop your own thoughts in the comments. There are people that shared information that gotten them into big, big trouble. I know some of you have examples of those kind of people. Anything that I'm putting on social media, anything that I'm putting in the WhatsApp group, you want to first of all assess it. Why am I sharing this? What am I even sharing? When do I need to share? How do I share? What do I share? When you look at our God, the Bible says the secret things belong to God, and those are revealed belongs to us and our children. Our God is a good manager of information. He doesn't just release information anyhow. Even when Jesus was on earth and he was showing people how God is, there are certain information that he will teach in parable, and the meaning he will reserve it for his disciples. There are levels of access to people, and there are levels of access based on their responsibility in your life. And Jesus would sit his disciples down and explain the parables. And God himself, we saw him. There are things that God would do, and the only time he speaks about it is when he's about to manifest. Because when you speak, you are creating. So you have to be careful what you are speaking out, what you are sharing with yourself in your heart, even, and what you are sharing with others. Because there are people that have shared, and that has messed up so many things for them, including aborting the miracle. Our God, he will share things when there is time for it to manifest. When in the beginning, that Genesis 1, when God said, let there be light, light was already manifesting. When he said, let us create man in our own image, men have already been programmed in his mind. It was already completed in his mind. Because every time you are sharing things, and you are sharing your goals and your dreams and your aspirations and your plans, what it's doing is that it's depleting your energy that you could use to ruminate on it and make it grow into fruition, into becoming and coming into manifestation. Is depleting the energy that you could put into making that dream perfected. It is like you have a pot of plants, and every time you are pulling out to see the roots as it's going, you will kill the plants. That's the way you want to think of information. Our God is the one that sits on information. He said the things that are revealed belongs to us and our children. There are certain levels of revelation that you don't get to experience with God until you enjoy a deeper communion with him. Some of you will be scrolling through people's status to follow what they are doing. Sit in God's presence. Sometimes you are asking people questions to see what is going on in their life. Sit in God's presence. God will begin to tell you what is going on in your life. And if you sit carefully with a right heart, a heart that cares for others, you will begin to experience and see the revelation of God, the good thing that God is about to do in the life of others. I would always say this, that hope is the foundation of faith, but love is the building block. The more you grow in love, the deeper is the revelation that you experience of God. When God was about to create and to start manifesting, he started talking. You don't want to experience the silence of God. Throughout the 400 years when the Israelites were in Egypt, God didn't speak. And when God appeared to Moses, God was ready to get the Israelites out of Egypt. Whenever God is speaking, he already have the action planned out. It was already time to manifest. Some of you are speaking too early. Be like God. Every time God speaks, it is a time of manifestation. That is why as a Christian, I don't know why I'm going into this, you need to know the difference between an instruction and a command. Because instruction builds faith, but a command is a step of faith. When God is giving you instruction, turn right, turn left, take a few steps, step back, sit down, those are instruction. The instructions of God are in his word. All scriptures are given by the inspiration of God for doctrine, for correction, for instruction in righteousness. The instruction of God are in his word. And he will give you even exposure to that rhema on what to do. Instructions are very key to our relationship and growing in our relationship with God. But when it comes to command, faith built on command, you follow it with action. Some of you are sharing too early. You are still in the process of instruction. The miracle, the blessing, the breakthrough is not fully fleshed out, but you are sharing it too early. But there are things that you need to understand, that when you share this instruction too early and you have not gotten to the command part, you are attracting the wrong crowd. There are key examples that come to my mind about people who shared information and they shared information wrongly. Before I go into that, let me quickly talk about why sometimes we want to share this information. I mean, sometimes we tell ourselves, I want to share. I want to tell people what God has done. Sometimes the best way to share your testimony is to just say, see what the Lord has done. See what the Lord has done. What we waited for has come to pass. See what the Lord has done. Those who can see deeply will figure it out. There are times we give testimony and we code it. Yes, there are times that we have to code the testimony. Yes, you are giving, you're saying it, you're sharing it for the glory of God, but there are times that you have to realize that you don't know how that information is going to interact with the hearers. You have to code it. Just like Jesus will speak in parable, just like God will step out when he's ready to manifest. Sometimes the reason why we want to share and we end up sharing with the wrong crowd, sometimes it's insecurity. Sometimes we want people to validate us. We want to get that validation. I said something about a woman with no friend has nobody that is sharing with. So he has enough capacity to process it, to process what God is building, what God is birthing. So that when it's fully mature, that is when it manifests. Sometimes it's a sign of insecurity and lack of confidence when you want to share, when you want to talk, when you want to say everything that God is doing, when you are grabbing the microphone quickly. The miracle is just still in a birthing process and you're already sharing. They've only interviewed you for the screening, for the job, and you're already sharing. They are just telling you that, oh, what we are saying just looks like a gleam of light. You're already out there sharing the testimony. I'm not saying don't share. But ask why, what, when, how, where. What you share on your Facebook is different from what you share on your Instagram. What you share on your thread is different from what you share on your WhatsApp. What you share on your YouTube channel is different from what you share with your family. Information sharing should be based on access, insecurity. Sometimes we want people to validate us. We want people to know what we're doing. I mean, we're doing it. I mean, we're happening. It's happening. God is doing it. You don't need people to validate you. It is your life. It is your journey. Nobody thinks or care about you like that. Sorry, I'm not trying to be harsh. It's just the honest truth. Sometimes you're thinking, oh, what will people think? Oh, what would they think? That is something that limits people from reaching their potential. When you think about what will people think? What will God think? What does God think? As Christians, as children of God, the main person we are trying to please is God. Every other person is a noise. That validation. I remember when I started the YouTube channel, and because I just wanted to share the thoughts that I have around some spiritual things, I want to share it so that I can build myself in my faith, I can build myself and grow. And I felt like putting it out there will also garner other people to learn from it and also help me to learn from others. So I started this channel. But I knew that sometimes people could perceive this type of thing as somebody starting, like you're starting a church. So that was what I thought. I mean, I'm saying it now. You guys have full information. So I paused a little bit and I said, okay, I have some leadership in my life, pastors that I've worked with. I'm going to reach out to them and let them know that I'm starting this YouTube channel. And God said, no, you are not. You are not doing that. I said, but God, I don't want people to think, oh, she's trying. God said, you are not doing that. Anyway, I started pulling out the video without getting any permission or any direction from anybody. Whatever God puts in my mind, I share with you all, my friends here. And at some point when we have gotten above 200 subscribers, I felt like I know some of these pastors that have been mentors and I've served under them. I felt like some of them have been watching. They've been seeing the videos, and I don't want them to feel like I just want to do this all by myself. I need their input. I need their leadership. I want them to be able to speak over my life. So I went back to God and said, God, do you want me to share again? Well, I decided to share and send the link and notify this particular fellow. Up until maybe tomorrow, I will hear from her to see what she has to say. That is a response. I learned something. Not everything is for public disclosure. Who to share with? And at that point, I realized I was looking for a validation. God didn't want me to go to that route. So when I did not get the response, it was like God saying, told you so. God has a sense of humor. He knew that was going to happen, and he didn't want me to be in that situation. What I'm saying is that sometimes when we are sharing this information, we need to ask ourselves, why am I sharing? Am I sharing it for people to, for me to look good in front of them, for them to validate me? I'm still growing in this journey of knowing what to share, how to share. And before I stop, I stop at the point of what metrics to use to know what to share. I just want to share quickly about the danger of sharing information with the wrong people. You know, information, like I said, is intelligence. The devil does not know everything about our life. So when we share information, we are not only giving that information to people, we are also exposing that information to the spirit that they carry. Which means that if those people, even if they have the right spirit, the right heart, but they have contact within their own network that have the wrong spirit, that information may land in the wrong hand. And when that information lands in the wrong hand, the devil has a foothold to use against you. Let's start with the example of the young prophet. Remember the young prophet in 2 Kings? God told him, go in there, deliver the message and get out. As soon as you deliver the message, don't eat, don't wait, don't sleep, get out. As it was John, he did what God told him to do. He delivered the information. It was a powerful, impactful delivery. And then as he was stepping out, in fact, during the delivery, the king was so mad and he pointed at him that somebody should get him killed. And God made the hands of that king wither. He had to pray for that and the hand of the king to go back. It was a powerful experience that the young prophet had. But on his way, that's what I'm saying about when it comes to information, you want to follow through. Whatever instruction that God has given to you on a particular breakthrough or journey, follow through. Don't follow it to a point and drop it. There are certain good news that you have. You are so excited, you are so happy to share it, and God will say, not now, follow through. Sometimes God will not allow you to share it until 10 or years or donkey years after. The young prophet, on his way, he was traveling back. And then the old prophet, realizing and hearing what God has done, went to go and block him, met him. The old prophet talked to the young prophet. What did God tell you? The whole prophet was open. Oh, this is a colleague I can share. He overshared. He didn't make it back. He died. Destinies can be aborted just because you overshare. An example that comes to my mind is Joseph. He would see all these dreams, and Joseph would go to his brothers, and he would tell them what God is doing. I saw these stars, and I saw the moon and the sun and 12 stars. And I saw one star standing, and all the other stars were bowing down to him. The brothers didn't hear about the 11 other stars. All they heard was the bowing down part. They were envious of him. Like I said, some envy will not come unless we share. That is why you have to be careful who you are sharing with. Ask yourself, why do I need to share? What is it going to trigger in them? If they find out, that is fine, and they ask you. And at that point, if they are purpose partner and they find out, maybe God has revealed it to them anyway, maybe that's a good time to share it. Because it will be painful for God to have revealed something to people and you are not willing to share. Just like the case of Elizabeth and Mary. God already alerted Elizabeth of what God was doing with Mary. There are some revelation that comes that way. But there are some revelation that you have to conserve until its manifestation. Joseph's destiny was almost going to be frustrated. Because the brothers determined that they were going to do something bad to him. They threw him they sold him to slavery. First they threw him. They said they were going to tell their dad that your son died. He was killed by an animal. And then the first child, I'm forgetting his name now. He said, no, let's not kill him. Let's just sell him. So they sold him to slavery. And that was how he landed. It was only the grace of God and the faithfulness of Joseph that made that prophecy over his life to come to pass. It would have been aborted. it would have been aborted. Can you imagine the daughter of Pharaoh sharing the news of Moses as a son of Hebrew with our own father? After she picked up Moses, she knew that Moses was an Hebrew boy. That was one of the boys that the father was going to kill. No. She didn't share it with her father. She kept it to herself and nursed the very man that God was going to use to deliver his people from the hand of Pharaoh. Destinies can be aborted. Miracles can be delayed when an information is shared with the wrong people. There's a lot of distraction of energy when an information is shared with the wrong people. It's a lot of unneeded exposure. Unneeded exposure. Sharing information with the wrong people brings unneeded exposure. The example that comes to my mind is the example of King Hezekiah. That was a king that God has really favored and helped. Everything was doing well. And then the queen came to visit. And when the queen was around to visit, this king showed her all the artilleries, all the military gadgets, everything that they had. She showed everything. There are depths, there are experiences, there are blessings that you don't open up to everyone. After that interaction, God sent his prophet. What have you shown? He said, yes, I've shown them this, I've shown them that. God said, very, very soon, those people are going to come after that blessing. And that actually happened. That led to the Israelites being taken into exile. Information is intelligence. Start thinking about it that way. It's intelligence. The people who manage the markets, who are riding over the markets, and all views are mine, not my affiliation. The people who manage the markets are people who make the right move over an information at the right time to their advantage. That is why you want to manage your information in such a way that you are not giving yourself out to the enemy. Hezekiah gave himself out. Not only himself, the entire Israel. The generations after. Because a leader's weakness is a leader's weakening. It's a leading weakening. It weakened the power of the Israelites. When you overshare information, it weakens your own inner energy to birth that process. When you are thinking of a goal, oh, I want to do this, I want to start this business, I want to start this consulting firm, oh, I want to start this product, I want to create this product, and you are sharing it. Every time you are sharing it, you are reducing the inner energy to birth that product, to birth that business, to birth that consulting firm, to write that book. Every time you are sharing it, the emotion that you are putting into sharing it is depleting the energy that you need to birth it. Rather than sharing, start taking action. Start writing the sentence for the book. Start registering that business. Start designing the products. Shock people. Let them see the result of your action. You talking. Stop talking too much. Let people begin to see the result of your action. Shock people. And when you shock them, celebrate it. Keep quiet and continue to work. Shock them again. Repeat the process. Enough is a time to come back to the basis and reassess the way we share information. Because winning at the palace means you know how to classify information. Not everything that people share with you is meant for public disclosure. Not every experience and exposure that you have with God is meant for public disclosure. Some of it is only for you and your children's children. The secret things belong to God, and those that are shared belongs to us and our children. Before I wrap up in this video, I just want to talk about examples of good managers of information. Oh my God. When we've been pitching it different way, but let me just mention some key examples of managers of information at the top. Like I classified information. Let's start with the 3 wise men. Okay, for some of you that don't know about the nativity story, is an Advent period. So that will be the birth of our Lord Jesus Christ. And Herod, who already was hinted that a king was born. And Herod, in his mind, that information interacted with his own inner desire to remain king forever. And he felt like that king was coming after his throne, not knowing that this is the king of all kings, that his kingdom is not of this earth. Anyway, Herod was the king. So he has access to people who would bring information to him. So when these wise men, when they got to Bethlehem and when they got to the city and they were looking for where to find the newborn king, they came to the king because they felt like things like that should not go past you. You should know. And they told him that the king has been born. No, that's part of being able to classify information. How can you be telling a king that another king has been born? You're telling that king indirectly that your time has come to an end. Anyway, Herod, after hearing that, he said, go. When you find him, come back to me and tell me. And tell me. Those people look at it. So why should we tell you? He said, so that I can go and worship him too. Those people were going to go back to tell Herod when they found baby Jesus. And an angel instructed them, don't go back the way you have come. Keep going back to your country. They know how to undo confidential information. That information is not meant for public sharing. Carry it with you. Go back to your country. If they have shared that information, only God knows what would have happened to baby Jesus. An alternative help would have come. Yes, an alternative help would have come. Because at some point, the angel also appeared to Joseph and Mary to take baby Jesus down to Egypt. That this place is no longer safe for him. Take him down. At that point, Joseph cannot be having conversation with his family and be saying, I don't have anybody in Egypt. Who do I talk to? We want to relocate. We are going to be immigrants in Egypt. He moved. As a man, as the leader of the home, there are information that lands on your lap that you need to make sure that we handle it carefully, intelligently, wisely, with discernment. Joseph handled that information with discernment, not sharing it with many people, decided to move baby Jesus. Another example that comes to my mind is Bathsheba. Some of you are asking, who is Bathsheba? Okay, let me just give you a little side introduction of this woman. That was the wife of Nathan. No. That was the wife of the man, the soldier that David killed. Bathsheba was the mom of Solomon. At some point when David was getting older, they were thinking of who would take up that leadership position after David. Bathsheba wanted his son to become the king. There were other sons that were after the throne. This woman, she didn't discuss a matter with all the other queens. She didn't discuss a matter with all the other people in the palace. She went to seek audience with the prophets, Nathan, and audience with the king. At that point, I can't remember the name of the particular son. Don't know if it was Adonijah. There was another son that was already declaring himself as king. He's going public with the information that he was king. And here was Bathsheba, a woman with no friend, but very strategic in her approach. She went to go and approach her husband, King David, and said, I would like my son to be the king after you. Why don't you call Prophet Nathan now and let's get him anointed? David was already weak. David was already old. it was already time to hand over the baton. The timing was right, and Solomon was anointed to become the king after his father. As a woman of faith, ability to handle information is very important. Not everything is public. There are times that you pitch your information right in front of the people that matter to that decision. Before I jump on the last one, let me give another example of a woman that handled information well. Rahab. You know, that woman has been coming up a lot. There's a lot to learn from that woman. She was an harlot. That was the way the Bible introduced her. But in the book of Hebrew, she was added to the all fame, the framework of faith, of people of faith. Because her decision, the way she made decision with instructions and following command, it shows faith. When the spies, when they told her what was going to happen to her people and her city, she didn't go public with that information. She knew that the only way to get herself her help is to work with these spies and make sure her people are safe. She didn't go public to tell the king, oh, this is where the spies are hidden. They are right on my roof now. Go get them. You know, I like the people. I'm a people person. I like the people. That was not Rahab. She was after her own well-being. And she said, what is this in this for me and my family? And they said, put the rope that you have used to lead us out of the city. Put it, and when we come, we will make sure you and your household are safe. So when the wall of Jericho came down, that was the first person they got her out of the city. She wasn't part of the destruction. Ability to handle information is very important. Mary, the mother of Jesus, when she was given the information that she was going to birth the Savior, she said, how can it be? The only person she was asking question was God. Prayer is asking God question. Prayer is talking and listening to God. Prayer is conversational. How can it be? Mary knew how to handle information. Esther knew that the information you give to a wrong audience can be used against you. She did not reveal her Jewish status until when she was about to bring deliverance for her people. Timing is everything. There are blessings, there are dreams and aspirations that you have to wait on and delay before you share. There are things that you want to think about that when it comes to not sharing, your dreams and aspirations are yours. Keep it until when it's manifesting. Let people see what the Lord has done. Your family and marital relationships and whatever drama is going in that space is not meant for public disclosure. It's not meant for public disclosure. Your financial status is not meant for public disclosure. A miracle in progress is not for public disclosure. A work in progress, a weakness that is a work in progress is not meant for public disclosure. Before I wrap up, here is something that I will just give you as a metrics to know what to share. When it comes to sharing, I've already noted that you ask yourself some certain questions. And before you share with a particular audience, you want to ask yourself, do these people need to know? Do they need to know? Is there a need to know? Is there a need for them to know? Because not every information that you are given to people is for them to know. And even those people will thank you for not letting them know because they don't want to know anyway. Do they need to know? The second question is that what I ask myself is that what are they going to use the information for? If they are not going to use the information for anything, then why do you have to tell them? What is the use for them? At place of work, they give you access to data, access to people based on your responsibility. What do they need to use that information for? And the last thing that I ask myself is that, what is the purpose in this? Everyone that comes into your life have a purpose. Relationship is dynamic. The information that you reveal to your inner circle is different from the information that you reveal to your broader circle. And everyone has the purpose. So you want to ask yourself, what is the purpose in sharing this information with others? That's all I have to share on information. Thank you for joining me on our platform. Feel free to note what resonates with you in the comments on sharing information. And let me know where you are joining us from. I would like to know you personally. Have a good one. See you in the next video.